Joey Votto finally made his return. He was back on the Reds, and he returned in epic fashion. Luis Arraez, he went 5 for 5 again. He is back to hitting 400, and he made some MLB history in yesterday's game. We're also going to talk about the Chicago White Sox completely imploding another season. They could be having a fire sale pretty soon. Lucas Giolito, maybe Dylan Cease, Luis Robert Jr. Who's going to be shipped at the deadline? We'll talk about that later on. All of that in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game, almost every single day. And before we talk about the recaps, I do have to let you guys know I almost retired from MLB Recap. I was so burnt out. These videos are so hard to make, but I have to give a massive shout out to my editor, Camden. He also has a YouTube channel where he posts baseball content every single week. It's Cam23. Let's surprise him. He has no idea I'm doing this. Let's see if we can get Cam23 to 10,000 subscribers. His link will be in the description as well. Go show some love, because without him, honestly, I was about to tap out. These videos, they take 8 to 9 hours every single morning. I was losing my mind, so shout out to Camden. Cam23, I appreciate you, bro. All right, let's talk about the games from yesterday. We're going to talk about two men in this one. The first one, Juan Soto, because he basically hit the same home run 2 different times. The first went 374 feet to left field. The second one went 373 feet to left field. He now has 30 extra base hits, more walks than strikeouts, and he has a 152 OPS plus. He does not have to even hit 260 to be considered an elite hitter. Lots of the older generation will hate me saying that, but it's true. Okay, actually, I'll throw in a third guy for this recap. David Villar, I mean, he was one of the main reasons why the Giants got back into this one, but the main reason, the main star for San Francisco, Mike Yastrzemski, he launched one in the 6th inning, and after San Francisco tied it and sent this one to extras, Mike Yastrzemski, he sent everyone home. That is honestly one of my favorite swings / home runs in recent memory. A walk-off splash hit that has to be one of the greatest feelings ever for a baseball player. He has 83 home runs and an almost 120 OPS plus through the first 5 years of his career. His Hall of Fame grandfather, Carl Yastrzemski, he's got to be pretty proud. Here we go, the Rockies and the Reds. This game felt like the third Lord of the Rings movie, and Joey Votto was Aragorn. This was the return of the king. Joey Votto had a huge return game, but we got to show off his teammates first. Kevin Newman, he blasted off for the 3rd time this year, and Nick Senzel, he is basically an unstoppable force of nature when facing lefties. He's hitting 460 with a 226 OPS plus and 46 at-bats versus lefties. Now, staying with lefties, there's a lefty we all know and love. That was Joey's first home run in nearly a year. He was hyped up. The only thing is, Colorado, they played the villain role. They played Spot if this was across the Spider-Verse, and they ruined all the good vibes with a mid-game comeback. That bases loaded walk put the Rockies up by 1, but that 2-run single up the middle put Cincinnati back out in front. Joey Votto, he clutched up and he won it for his team. This felt so scripted, I'm not gonna lie, but we're talking about a future Hall of Famer in Joey Votto, so I guess it just makes sense that he's coming up clutch. Alexis Diaz, he struck out 2 for his 19 save. The Cincinnati Reds have won 9 games in a row, so that means if the Brewers lose this game against the Diamondbacks, the Reds will be in sole possession of first place. Let me repeat that. The Reds, first place. I mean, just a few seasons ago, they were a dumpster fire organization. Now, this might have been the most terrifying performance from the Diamondbacks all season long. I'll talk about why in just a second. I mean, off the rip, you had Christian Walker with an RBI single, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he laced another single, this time driving in 2 more. And these 2 guys right here, they make the Diamondbacks serious playoff threats, in my opinion. Alek Thomas, he is a defensive wizard in center field, but he can swing it a little bit as well. So there he is. He hits a home run in his first game after being recalled from the minors. Merrill Kelly, he's gotten past the awful WBC performances. He's been really good this year. 7 strikeouts over 7 innings. He allowed just 3 base hits the entire day. He has a 2.9 ERA. So when you factor in Alek Thomas and an efficient and confident Merrill Kelly with maybe the MVP frontrunner in Corbin Carroll, this AZ team is a legit threat in the National League. Corbin, he's hitting 304 with 16 home runs and 19 stolen bases. That was his 20th career home run, by the way, so it took him just 102 games to reach the 2020 club. That is the 2nd fastest in MLB history. Fernando Tatis Jr. did it in 97 games. Corbin Carroll, he did it in 102 games, which was faster than the AL record set by J-Rod last year at 107. So Corbin, he is an actual legit MVP frontrunner. And honestly, when you factor in defense, he might just be ahead of Ronald Acuna Jr. right now. Here we go. The Cardinals were facing off against the Nationals, and Washington had Josiah Gray on the bump and a 5-run lead to work with after 2. So you could probably chalk it up as another pathetic performance from the St. Louis Cardinals, right? Let's find out, actually. Tommy Edman, he tripled in the 3rd inning to score Paul DeJong, and Goldie got them a little bit closer on an RBI single. It's even closer now. I haven't really heard from Brendan Donovan lately, so it's really cool to see him tee off on a 3-run tater, so it's actually a tie ball game. Goldie makes it back-to-back. He now has 33 extra base hits and a 141 OPS plus, so not quite 2022 MVP Goldie, but still very, very good. It stayed tied going into the 7th when Arenado, he clutched up again for his squad, and Contreras, he added an insurance run right after. Jordan Hicks, he came in for the 9th inning and he ended it on a 104-mile-per-hour sinker. 104 is more common than ever. The Cardinals, they've won 3 in a row, but they're still just 30-43. The Cubs and the Pirates are facing off in Chicago. They had their win streak snapped a couple days ago, but they're going to try and improve to 8-2 over their last 10 if they can beat the Pirates. Chicago, they went up 3 after a 2-run single from Mike Tauchman, who is hitting .301 with 13 RBIs in 28 games. Nico Horner, he had an RBI single, and after the number 1 overall pick from a few years ago, Henry Davis picked up his first hit, a double, a 106-mile-per-hour double, by the way. Drew Smyly, he took care of business on the bump for Chicago. 5 shutout, only 3 hits allowed. He walked 5, so he was taken out after 94 pitches. Now, it didn't really matter because the Pirates couldn't score regardless, and their pitching staff let the floodgates open again later on. The Cubs scored a bunch on a few singles, a few fielder's choices, everything like that, but Seiya Suzuki, he put Pittsburgh out of their misery in the 8th. That RBI double was the final run scored for either team. Pittsburgh has now lost 7 in a row, and the Cubs, they're just 3.5 games back at first place. The Pirates losing 7 in a row might be expected to a lot of us because we don't think that the Pirates are actually that good, but this Astros team losing 5 in a row now, that's not normal. Ever since Yordan Alvarez went down with the oblique injury, they've been pretty bad. Vogelback, he looks brand new after that little mental reset. He was benched for a few days. He looks way better. He went yard, and so does Francisco Lindor. Lindor has been an RBI machine despite his contact issues. He has 14 home runs and 48 RBIs. Mad Max, he was on full display last night. You could even say that Mad Max was showing in IMAX. Okay, bad joke, I am sorry. But regardless, he had 8 strikeouts over 8 innings. That was vintage Max Scherzer. He got through those 8 on just 91 pitches. Lindor, he ripped a 2-run double, so he's now in the 50 RBI club. The Mets, they went easy 11-1. They send the Astros to a 5-game losing streak. Another NL East team that put up 11 runs last night, the Miami Marlins. Jorge Soler, he launched his 21st home run of the year. Miami, they ended up with 5 after 4, and the Marlins pitching staff, they held their own. They didn't allow a single run to score the entire night, and later on in the 7th inning, Luis Arraez punched a 2-run single to left field, his 5th hit in 5 at-bats. That is history, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is he now hitting 400 on the season, but he is the first player in Major League Baseball history to have 3 5-for-5 games in a single month, and he still has some time left, so maybe he can do it again. Brian De La Cruz and Jacob Amaya, they make it an 11th spot. I'm super happy that Jacob Amaya is finally up and playing for the Marlins. Miami, they've won 5 in a row. Here we go, the Royals and the Tigers. Things were looking awesome for Kansas City early on with their young guns, Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia, showing off their pop. They both flexed their muscles. They both had long home runs, and Bobby, he made it 4-0 in the 5th inning. Jordan Lyles, he might finally get his first W of the season. Kansas City is 0-14 when he starts this year, and he only allowed 1 run in the first 5. Okay, why did they send him out for the 6th and the 7th? He allowed a few base runners, and oh no, it is now a 1-run game. Jake Rogers, he clutched up for a massive 2-run single, and I guess it was too good to be true. Kerry Carpenter socked a pitch. His 3-run pimp job put the Tigers up by 2. Kerry Carpenter is so underrated in my opinion. Alex Lang, he converted his 11th save of the year. So the Royals, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, are 0-15 when Jordan Lyles starts a ball game. That is an MLB record to begin a season. The Kansas City Royals and the Oakland Athletics are the 2 teams under 20 wins. The Rangers and the White Sox, Adolis Garcia is easily having his best season in baseball. He's up to 57 RBIs and a near .340 on base percentage, and that was his issue, not getting on base. He's also playing great defense in right field. Josh Young is the AL Rookie of the Year favorite in my opinion. He's hitting .285 with 15 home runs and a 131 OPS plus. The White Sox, they did belt back-to-back home runs off of Andrew Heaney, one from Andrew Vaughn and one from Luis Robert Jr. Luis, by the way, has 18 home runs and 8 outs above average defensively. He has been an absolute monster. Those 2 home runs weren't enough to rally everyone else, as Texas, they got those 2 runs back on a 2-run single from Jonah Heim, and Will Smith, he now has 13 saves. The Rangers, they've won 3 in a row. The White Sox fall to 31-43, but on paper, they should be so much better. I mean, Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech, Lance Lynn, that is on paper a really good rotation, but maybe we're just relying on their namesake. They're no longer superstar players or star players. Let me know in the comments down below. Should the White Sox start shipping off some of their best players players does Luis get shipped? Maybe they start over and get rid of all of their young players like Michael Kopech, Dylan Cease. I don't know what the future holds for the White Sox, but I'm confused by them. They should be so much better. And luckily, they're in the AL Central, so if they do hold on to their players, they might be able to compete for that first place spot because the Twins are in first place even though they're under 500. But right now, the White Sox, for me, they're probably going to lead the charge at the trade deadline, and they're going to I think they're going to restart. Let's talk about the other Sox in the drawer, the Red Sox. Adam Duvall, he walked in a run in the third inning, and that double from Jarren Duran brought home 2 more. That was his 3rd double in the first 4 innings, not even lying for fun. He had 3 doubles before the 4th came to an end. He has 21 doubles, 11 stolen bases, and a 122 OPS plus while hitting 300. Christian Vasquez, the former Red Sox, he made things interesting with a long 3-run home run in the bottom of the 5th, but Dougie, he got 2 of those back. Wait, he got all 3 of those back. He clears the bases to make it 6-3, his 3rd triple. He leads the American League in doubles, by the way. Tristan Casas, he is figuring it out right before our very own eyes. He has a 400 on base percentage over the last 12 games after that 2-run home run. Verdugo, he had 1 more RBI. He is seriously turning into an elite outfielder. Both he and Mookie Betts have the exact same baseball reference WAR with the exact same amount of at-bats. I'm not saying that Alex Verdugo is as good as Mookie Betts, but he's holding his own for sure. Again, guys, do not forget to subscribe to my man Cam23. The link is in the description down below, but before we end today's recap, I want to show all of the leaders in Major League Baseball. So Luis Arraez, obviously, he's #1 in batting average. He's hitting 400. McClanahan, he is the only pitcher with 10+ wins. Shohei Ohtani is leading the pack with 24 home runs, which is crazy to say out loud because he's also 5th in strikeouts as a pitcher. Just does not make sense. McClanahan, he's #1 in wins and ERA, so shout out to him. Framber has a 2.27. RBIs, Ohtani, so he's 2 of the 3 Triple Crown categories right now, and he's got 105 strikeouts as a pitcher. It doesn't make sense. Class A has 21 saves. Luis Arraez is 2 ahead of Bo Bichette for base hits. Strikeouts, it's still Spencer, strikeout Strider, 127, and then stolen bases, Esteury Ruiz, he's right now on pace to be the first 80 stolen base player since Ricky Henderson. That does it for today's MLB recap. If you watched all the way until this part of the video, shout out to you. I really appreciate all the support. Remember to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save $20 off, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.